want to start this discussion with attribution. A wise individual in the industry once said, amateurs talk about targeting while the professionals start with attribution. So let's be professional and start with attribution. We all know that historically, the mobile advertising ID has been the anchor for cross-app identity on mobile devices. Under Apple's app tracking transparency framework, publisher and marketer access to the IDFA became opt-in instead of opt-out, as we all know. And that's curtailed the availability of the IDFA by anywhere from 60 to 80% by most estimates. Google promises to deprecate their equivalent for Android devices, the Android ID, altogether by 2024. So what does this all mean for traditional approaches to measuring campaign return on ad spend for performance marketers?
Yeah, so it means a few things that we talk about daily with our clients. One is an increasing focus on embedding privacy by design principles into a marketing approach, right? So rather than making privacy an afterthought or even neglecting it, marketers are asking us about how to more proactively think about consumer privacy. PBD is legally required by GDPR, but still, not all marketers actually apply its principles across their organization. So that's something that's come up as a very salient topic in reaction to everything that you described. The second thing that's come up is the need to build out both zero and first-party data assets, right? So inferred data is getting really hard to acquire, and brands need to prioritize their own data assets and direct relationships with consumers. This means first-party transactional data. This means zero-party data that consumers, actively volunteer about their preferences and their interests, usually in exchange for some sort of perk. And so, using first and or zero-party data instead of trying to infer things about behaviors or context or intent through somewhat invasive, tracking mechanisms, that's also a huge point of conversation right now, bearing PBD in mind as you do that.
Right.
And then a few more things here that are coming up in response to what you described. There's a strong interest from marketers I talked to explore alternative buying practices. I'll call them, and alternative ecosystems. So the idea of relying on open, unfettered, programmatic buying via RTB protocols, that is subject to the risk of data leakage. And so we're hearing a lot about building out direct publisher relationships, either through kind of like reservation-based buying or through programmatic pipes, to keep the line between brands and publishers as clear, as clean, as direct as possible. And then with that, we're hearing a lot about the interrogation of identity, ad tech, media partnerships, and getting really, really clear and demanding about what the processes are, who the intermediaries are,